Chapter 5339. The Vermilion Bird Palace revolved, and these inheritors soon went to another palace. Their journey has just begun. Primordial stars are just the starting point. Their path is still very long, but they are close to the place where the dream begins. Tens of thousands of years passed in a blink of an eye. 4 secret realms. Earth boundary. Savage place. Great Shia ancient country. A sacrifice is being held in a wild mountain range. The scarlet arrogance rose, making everything in the valley very strange. On the altar, several masked monks in red are maintaining order. Because in addition to them, there are thousands of Dao Jun and countless mundane practitioners also gathered here. And they are the objects of blood sacrifice. Young sect master, everything is ready, the red robe envoy said respectfully. Hidden in the mountain, a masked man in black armor with no breath at all, slowly walked out of the void. Only a look made these red-robed deacons tremble. Although they have only started to follow the young sect master in the last 1,000 years, they are extremely afraid of this young sect master. Because of this young sect master, he has sacrificed countless Dao monarchs in blood within 1,000 years, and he has never let go of even the common customs, and his combat power is unfathomable. Once killed a second-order emperor instantly, so that the other party had no chance to fight back. Let's start. The black armor masked young master's voice is low but cruel. The imprisoned monk below, staring at the red-robed deacon above with anger, especially when he saw the black-armored young master, he hated his bones. You are imprisoning this seat. I am Daxia's 9 princes. You are looking for death. A burly, resolute young man roared. His strength is also the strongest of these people. He has reached the level of a half-step emperor. But here, any red-robed deacon is an existence comparable to the emperor, and they can't resist at all. After the young sect master standing at the top heard these words, his eyes moved, as if thinking of something funny again, his arm slightly lifted and his finger moved. The red-robed deacon behind him, instantly aware, took a palm shot, turned into a black mist and instantly enveloped the young man who claimed to be the 9th prince of Great Shia. The black mist envelops the 9th prince, but in an instant, he arrived in front of the young sect master. Daxia's 9 princes, it's a bit interesting. I heard that Daxia is planning to aggressively attack the Moluo kingdom, but there is such a thing. The voice of young master He Jiao was very playful, and he did not take the person in front of him seriously, like it's like looking at a prey. At first, the 9th prince was still very hard-spirited. After all, he was Daxia's 9th prince. He was in a high position since he was a child, and he was used to overpowering others. But when he arrived in front of the black-armored young master, he didn't know what happened, he couldn't get up anymore, his eyes still leaked fear, and his heart shrank into a ball. Originally didn't want to answer, but when he saw those gloomy eyes, he hesitated and said, "Yes, there is such a thing. Exterminate the demon cult. The name of this battle is very in line with God's will." The young black-armored sect master stretched out his claws and directly pinched the head of the 9 princes of Daxia, and countless pictures came into his mind in an instant. After almost 3 breaths, the black-armored young sect master slowly let go. It's just that the one in his hand has turned into a corpse. The origin, the divine body, and even the memory and his cultivation skills were all wiped out, leaving a withered body. From now on, I will be him, the 9 princes of Daxia ancient kingdom, Xia Mangguanyu. As soon as the voice fell, the Hongpao deacon officially opened the blood sacrifice array. Countless people were teleported to the altar. Everyone's faces are full of death. The realm is too chaotic. Every day there are demon heads performing blood sacrifices. There are constant battles between the ancient countries. The environment of the monks is very bad. Even some sects that have been passed down for hundreds of millions of years may be destroyed overnight. Even the temple where the gods are stationed will be attacked. What's more, they are all beings. Am I going to die? A teenager muttered to himself. His face is not dead, but some are worried. Hongpao deacon shouted, "Quickly, pour in the blood of the gods, and the crystals, don't stop for a moment." When these people are busy, the young sect master hugs his arms around him, hovering in the air a battle high above the ground, watching all this quietly. The blood poured in, the world faded. Countless people swarmed in it. The young man wiped the blood from his face. He tried his best to endure the weakness of his body. He firmly grasped a puppet with a name engraved on it. It seems that the name is a girl. That is his sister. The two depend on each other for fate. He is just a mundane during the refining period. If you want to survive in the realm, you must have a backing. In order to support his sister, he worked as a coolie in a mundane sect. He originally thought to be a backer, but in the end, the sect was burdened. Everyone went up to the sect master and down to the disciple coolies. I'm fine when I die, but my sister is still young. The boy's eyes were red, and tears flowed out in the next moment. He is not afraid of death, he is afraid that he is dead. No one will protect his sister. The sect was destroyed, and his sister was still waiting for him to go home in the back mountain, but he can't go back now, and can't go back again. With the blood boiling, the boy gradually softened to the altar. Although his strength is weak, his willpower is terribly strong, and he can actually fall with those Mahayana monks. When fell, in the blood and tears, he thought of scenes from when he was a child. In a small courtyard, his father is a hunter. He went hunting in the mountains to feed his family, and he was nourished, and he was still an only child. When I was a child, my father brought my sister back on the mountain. Xiaofan, you have a sister. Xiaofan, you have to remember that you are a man, you have to protect your sister and mother. Come, pick up the knife, and continue practicing. Then the beasts attacked the village. The parents rushed into the beast tide to protect him and his sister. Xiaofan. 2 brothers and sisters left their homes, begging all the way for a living. Fortunately, he has practiced martial arts since he was a child. Whether he is a coolie or a domestic slave, he has a bite to eat. But now without him, what should the little girl do? Brother, go home. When the boy closed his eyes, in the last scene, his sister was standing at the gate of the fenced courtyard, holding a bowl of clear water, waiting for him to return home. Someone keeps falling down in the altar. Now even the earth celestial beings have fallen, and then the heavenly celestial beings, and the powerful Daoist among the celestial beings. The strength of the land boundary is still divided according to the name of the most ancient era. Dian Immortal is a heavenly immortal in the earth boundary, Yangxian is an earth immortal, and Mahayana is an ancestral realm. The Lord of Mortals is also the Mahayana of mortals. Young Master He Jiao, his eyes changed, and a touch of surprise came out, turning his head to look north. This scene scared Deacon Hongpao jumped. This young sect master is a fearless lord, even he was taken aback. Could it be that a powerful emperor is here? https://mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5340. Wn Dao Sword Sovereign, the young master Black Jiao coldly said, "You go first. The sacrifice has already begun, and these red-robed deacons are useless, and staying here will reveal their identity. They are all strong men of some sects, and they were dispatched here for the blood sacrifice this time, and they usually didn't meet each other. Except for him, no one knows the true identity of these people." Yes. The several red deacons respectfully took orders. A tiny small formation rose up, these deacons entered it, and were instantly moved hundreds of millions of miles away, and their breath disappeared instantly. In today's valley, there is only this young sect master. Inside the altar, there was now a mess, with only a few bones left. From the altar, a faint source emerged, which cannot be said to be the source, but a force that has never been seen before, and it contains all things in the world. It's too little. The power is also average, only comparable to ordinary emperor origin. After reaching out and grasping this source, the black armor young sect master leaked a trace of strange color in his eyes. Can't help but growl, "Old guy, you are not the last time, why is it not enough?" A surprising scene appeared, and a ghost flew out of the black-armored young sect master's body, floating in the air. I can't blame me, this time the sacrifices are too weak. If it is a fourth-order emperor, one will do. The ghost said aggrievedly. The young sect master He Jiao had a look of disgust, and he pulled the weak source in his hand and threw it to the ghost. You really dare to say that the fourth-order emperor is here, and we all have to die? The ghost leaked a smile, and quickly flattered, how come, with your current strength, can't you escape if you can't beat it? It's simple. Young black-armored sect master lazily paid attention, and then said, "Come in quickly, someone is coming here, the strength is not weak."
Oh.
Hearing these words, the ghost leaked a meaningful expression. If the strength is not weak, it means that you can fight or even kill. After seeing the other party's thoughts, young Master He-jo sighed. "It's not someone else who is here, it's an acquaintance, let's go." After hearing these words, the ghost didn't dare to say anything more, and re-entered the body of young black-armored sect master. A black-clothed monk head, extremely fast, arrived in this valley in an instant after the black-armored young master left. Looking at the blood-colored altar on the ground, the black-robed monk's face leaked anger. With her generous sleeves swaying, a 12 or 13-year-old girl, clutching his thigh, did not dare to look at the blood-colored altar. When looking down at the girl, the head of the monk leaked a smile. He had been in this situation once, and the man gave him a smile to make him feel at ease. "Brother." The little girl in ragged clothes had clear eyes, and when she looked at the blood-colored altar, her heart leaked uneasy. The surrounding breath tears through the world, and the ordinary cannot stay here forever. The head of the monk shook his head and waved his hand to take away the breath of the world, leaving only a bald altar with solidified blood on top. The two landed slowly, and as soon as they landed, the little girl rushed to the ring. She could feel that his brother seemed to have been here. Thump. "I don't know what I tripped over." The little girl stood up hard with both hands on her back, looking at the bulge behind her. The head of the monk stood on the side and did not stop him. With his identity and strength, he could see the past and future of the little girl at a glance. Although it was once poor, it was a ray of light. The future is turbid, and even if he will take in this little girl, her future is hard to predict. He closed his eyes slightly, and for a moment countless pairs of eyes stared here. The sacrifice here has destroyed so many people, it can cause such a large cause and effect, but he can't see who is here to sacrifice. When she opened her eyes again and looked at the little girl, there was pity in her eyes. The little girl was just a microcosm of the countless pairs of eyes, and at the same time, there were still many people in the same situation as the little girl. Not afraid of cause and effect, obviously a monk of the magic way. At some point, there was a puppet in the little girl's hand, with slanted writing on it. It was left by his brother before he died. "Sister, stay alive." This is what he left behind with all his might before he died, but for some reason it was not destroyed. If the young sect master knew, he would be surprised. Maybe he is surprised now. On the cliff of the valley, a person in a void in the void, staring coldly at the puppet in the little girl's hand. "Old man, are you really that serious? You and I will kill you." It seems that this is the evil result of the sacrifice. I have already felt a sense of anxiety in my heart. It seems that this is the thing. Even the sacrifice can't be destroyed. Hidden here is the young black-armored sect master. Forget it, as long as you reshape a source for you, you can get rid of it completely. I hate this kind of day. The voice of the old man in the body sounded again, and he said in a low voice, "No matter what, kill this person first. He is just a daoist, there is nothing to be afraid of. You are teaching me to do things." The young Master He-jo's voice was cold and stern. The person in his body was taken aback. How could the usually cold-blooded young sect master hesitate? No, I just suggest to get rid of that puppet. There is a cause and effect of you and me above it, don't keep it. Sect Master He-jo didn't pay attention, but kept his eyes on the monk head, and finally shook his head. On the altar. The little girl knelt on the ground and sobbed. The monk's first step came, knelt down and patted the shoulder, and said, "Don't live up to your brother's long-cherished wish." The little girl raised her head, looked at the head of the monk, and then said, "Why did my brother die?" The head of the monk was stunned for a moment, a little stunned for a moment, because he found that the little girl's future changed again, and it was still muddy, but now it has turned into darkness. It seems that there will be another extraordinary figure in this world. Of course, this refers to the ancient country of Great Shia. Let's go, I'll take you to see. The head of the monk took the little girl's hand and rose into the air. The two of them left in an instant. After disappearing completely, the young black-armored sect master, who was hidden in the void, slowly appeared. Looking at the place where the other party disappeared, There was a trace of longing in his eyes. Hu Qing, long time no see. His voice was very low, and he didn't have the coldness of the past. Wow! The black armor concealed into the body, put on a black robe, and slowly took off the mask. This black-armored young sect master is the Jian Wushuang who has disappeared for thousands of years. The hair became white at this moment. You are crazy, don't be afraid that someone will see it. The voice in the body sounded again. Jian Wushuang's eyes changed sharply in an instant, and he shouted angrily, "Shut up for me." That person was not someone else, it was the White King who took him away. Chapter 53-41. WN Dao Sword Sovereign. After being looted at that time, I thought that the other party would kill him directly, but I didn't expect this old guy to actually want to take him away. Just kidding, his Dao is a unique extreme Dao. Even if the opponent is an absolute powerhouse, he can't win the home. Eventually, he merged into one by accident. I had no choice but to swear to live in the same body for the time being. But this is not a long-term solution. The White King wanted to reconsolidate a source that did not belong to the Temple of Chishan, and wanted to cultivate to the Sixth Order Emperor again. The sacrifice of Jian Wushuang Mandi realm is to refine the origin for the opponent. It was still a little bit close now. As long as he helped King by refining a new source, the opponent would be able to escape from his body. If they violate the oath, both of them will collapse the road. He was used to this kind of life originally, but now that he sees Hu Qing, he also wants to go to the Tomb Mountain with those inheritors. This is his holy place for spiritual practice, with inexhaustible resources. There is also the old horned man who agreed to refine the beast weapon for him, and it is estimated that the other party has already felt that he has fallen. King Bai turned his eyes, and said in a low voice, "Jian Wushuang, don't feel sad. You only need to follow the great gods to ensure that your cultivation speed is much faster than those of inheritors." These words are not empty words. Although he has been busy with blood sacrifices for 1,000 years, his cultivation has not fallen. In the realm, a mysterious organization key is the young master of it. The once promised him that as long as he breaks through the emperor, he can become the leader of the Kuei organization and control the realm. This hidden force is very large. Just at one of the halls that Jian Wushuang knew, there were 2 Sixth-Order emperors sitting in the town, one bright and one dark. What is clear is an ancient sect, but the dark place is disturbing the world, and the surrounding forces are working together to clear the temple. The land boundary, the temple is located in Tianzhu, which is the core area of the entire continent. The rest of Tiannan, Tianbei, Eastern region, and Western region were all in chaos, and the temple had to be driven away. The status of young sect master has a high status in the K organization, surpassing ordinary emperors, and is similar to the status of Fourth Order emperors. To confirm the identity, mainly depends on the token. Now the token in Janwa's hands is a third-tier token. Generally, only the Fourth Order emperor with great merit can obtain this token, the Fifth Order emperor is the second rank, and the Sixth Order emperor is the first rank. There is also the legendary super first grade, once the White King was at that level. With this third-rank token, Jian Wushuang can contact the local emperor and the powerful Daoist to help him no matter where he reaches the boundary. This time the blood sacrifice mobilized the Kuei organization in Daxiegu. A second-rank elder summoned, "Your treasure is here." King Bai reminded. Jian Wushuang didn't answer, he turned into the dead Daxia Ninth Prince. At the same time, in the ancestral temple of the Great Xia Ancient Kingdom, the emperor who was responsible for guarding the soul lamp saw the 9th soul lamp at the top lit up again, and he took a deep breath. In some places, the soul lamp could be covered. At first he thought that the 9 princes had fallen, so he had to report. Fortunately, there was a rule that the soul lamp would go out for a quarter of an hour before reporting. Jian Wushuang, who had become the 9 princes of the Great Xia Kingdom, instantly disappeared in place like a phantom, and headed to the imperial capital of the Great Xia Kingdom. Summer. In the southern part of Tiannan, it can be regarded as a super dynasty. The first emperor who opened up the kingdom was a Sixth-Order emperor. After he abdicated, he has been in retreat for many years. The emperor of today's Daxia is a young Fifth-Order emperor, with average combat power and average potential, but he has a brilliant strategy in management. In the Daxia clan, no one respected him. In the clan, in addition to this emperor, there are also ancestors and several elders, all of whom are fifth-order emperors. If you can't convince the crowd, it's just a puppet. Great Xia State Capital. This super city is like a giant lying on the ground. The 16 gates are open, and there are hundreds of millions of people entering and leaving every day. With so many powerful people gathering, the capital is naturally prosperous and lively. Especially a place for the strong to have fun. There are many crazy practitioners in the realm, and there are more lazy practitioners. It's hard to grow up under the shadow of the fathers, especially in this tempting city. East City. The most affluent and lively place. Jian Wushuang took advantage of the identity of the 9th Prince Xia Mangguanyu to come to the capital. Although it was very conspicuous, it was hidden deep enough. This was the real big hidden in the dynasty. In addition to being strong, the benefits of the super-quality physical body also have many ways to help him, such as the means of change. When he was in the Shangqing Palace, the Broly he saw was a change of cultivation way, and the other party was getting stronger and stronger. What he has become like, now that he has turned into this 9 prince, even the founding emperor can't detect it, unless he is dragging his origin to examine it carefully. The average 5th-order emperor, let alone, the origin is placed on the opponent's face, and it may not be able to see it. Learning the way Xia Mangguanyu remembered, he swaggered into the capital. A quarter of an hour before long, a gang of eagle dogs from the palace came to guard them. He had swallowed the memory of the other party before. Although the mother of the 9th prince was not a queen, her background was not ordinary. He came from a big family. His grandfather was a powerful 5th-order emperor, and several uncles were also 4th-order emperors. The ruling and opposition parties are very powerful. In addition, the mother's own strength is also the pinnacle of Tier 4, the strongest in the harem. There is only one son like him, so Xia Mangguanyu has been domineering since he was a child. It's a pity that this time, I hit him on the head. He completed the trial of the clan in a remote county, and he gave it to him in a pot, and he passed it directly. Jian Wushuang didn't care about these intertwined forces. If necessary, it only takes a little time, and it is not a problem to destroy the entire Daxia. It's just that there is no need, and there is no time. He wouldn't be so boring. His Royal Highness, are we going to Firefox Palace? Do you want me to ask Fairy Firefox to arrange it first? The leader of the guard, who was also his bodyguard, asked. The clan's trial is cruel. No matter how high the status is, you must accept the trial. If you fail the trial, your status will decline. If you pass the trial, you will get a treasure and support for future treasures. He has the support of his mother and grandpa, and there is no shortage of treasures. If he didn't make trouble in this trial, it would have been over. It's just that these people are too unlucky, and the place of trial is actually near his retreat, and they are looted away. The guard leader knew that His Highness, every time he returned from the trial, he would go to the Firefox Palace to get angry. It's a life-and-death fight all day long, and it's very stressful. Every time I pass, I have to take it easy. Chapter 53-42. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign, no need. Jian Wushuang replied lightly. Firefox Palace is a brothel where monks grow up, and there are often Taoists and emperors to consume. Those young girls of the Humei clan who have been trained, even the emperor will not be able to control them. Of course, the price is also very expensive. A fox girl in the Mahayana realm needs thousands of crystals, and even tens of thousands in the Earth Fairy realm. After all, the cost of cultivating a fox and charming girl in the Mahayana realm is extraordinary. The entire Fox family was not suppressed because of the existence of the Firefox Palace. Instead, they got a county town to help Daxia guard the frontier and confront the Moluo kingdom. Speaking of which, this Fox clan was originally accepted by Xia Mangguanyu's grandfather. He went to the Firefox Palace to be happy, and it was the highest treatment. The emperor can't afford to play with the hundreds of thousands of gods of the fairy Fox clan girl. He only needs to hook a hand and there will be a number of arrivals. Even the legendary emperor-level Fox Saint, he almost slammed the bow. Unfortunately, it was not an opponent, and Xia Mangguanyu did not succeed. Since then, the saint dare not come to the capital again. There was that scene in Jian Wushuang's memory, and a strange color leaked from his eyes. In less than a quarter of an hour, he arrived at the Firefox Palace in his memory. Coming here is not only because of Xia Mangguanyu's habit, but Jian Wushuang did come here for other things. The treasure he needs has been delivered. The place agreed by the other party is this Firefox Palace. Firefox Palace is located by the most prosperous lake. A 9-story tower is majestic. As it is getting darker today, the tower is brightly lit. His Royal Highness, you won't say a word in advance when you come. Before entering the door, I heard a soft and feminine voice. The voice fell, and a coquettish woman in a red fairy dress came out. She was the palace lord of the first 3 floors of Firefox Palace, and a powerful emperor. According to the description in the memory, the palace lord had a leg with Xia Mangguanyu. So when the other party's soft body leaned over, he also unscrupulously touched a few, and then said playfully, "Old rules, Tianzi number 1 room. His Royal Highness, why do you have to go to the 6th floor when you first come here? It's better to play with the slave house for a while." After Jian Wushuang heard these words, his whole body was shivering, especially the softness on his arms. Humph! How strong his mood is, how can he be confused by this kind of strategy? No, I have an appointment to talk about something here. Jian Wushuang pulled out his arm and directly led the person into the room behind a door. The palace owner was a bit embarrassed, because the name of Tian had already been set, but the name of Tian was not in her control, and the trouble was left to the palace director of the middle 3rd floor. Come to the 6th floor, here is like a huge patio. He also knew these 3-tier palace masters, but only knew them. Because the palace lord here has the highest strength among the 4th order emperors, and there are rumors that the palace lord here has a relationship with the prince. The prince of the dynasty had just succeeded in joining forces and became a 3rd order emperor with extremely strong combat power. The power is naturally very large, although he relied on the power behind his mother to show off his power, but in front of the prince, he was still a lot worse. He is a toothless wolf, and the opponent is a carp that transforms into a dragon. Snapped. After everyone reached the 6th floor, they went straight to room number 1 Tianzi. Before Jian Wushuang reached the door, he found that there was already someone inside. If it was his character, someone would change it, but the temper of my 9 princes is not like this. Someone, then you have to see who it is first. If it is a casual cultivator with a low status, just shoot it out. Snapped. Jian was palms just touched the door, but someone inside opened it by himself. I've seen the slave and maid, Your Majesty the 9th prince. It was Du Shenyang, the palace owner on the 3rd floor, who opened the door. Jian Wushuang moved slightly, a trace of thought power entered the room, and instantly understood. It turned out that sitting inside was his elder brother, His Royal Highness. No wonder in being stopped below, it turns out there are people here. According to the description in the memory, the prince seldom came here. As long as he came here, he would surely let Du Shenyang accompany him. It seems that I have broken through now, come here to be cool. Brother 9, since I'm here, let's do it together. In the room, the prince's voice was smiling. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly, leaking a look of embarrassment, and then said without rush, I'm harassing the emperor brother, but I have something to do, so I won't do it together. I will go to the East Palace and meet the emperor next day. A narration. After leaving this sentence, Jian Wushuang glanced at this Du Shenyang, and it was as beautiful as he remembered. It's no wonder that a talent like the prince will put down his body and come to this place of red dust. When leaving Tianzi number 1, Jian Wushuang directly asked King Bai to tell the 5th order emperor that he changed to room number 7. In fact, every room is the same, just like their domineering kid, who loves face. After entering, it is completely a private space. In the front, you can see the bottom of the patio www.mtlnovel.com. There are a group of fox and charming girls dancing, just like a fright. You all go out, you are not allowed to come in without my order. Jian Wushuang waved his hand, and after ordering to go down, he sat directly on the soft throne. The whole person was slumped on the action, and his eyes were softly staring down. Why, it's all here, don't you find a fox girl to play with? King Bai laughed. Since possessing Jian Wushuang, he discovered that Jian Wushuang was like a eunuch, and he knew about cultivation, and it was a very unique kind of cultivation. Everything is up with resources. Jian Wushuang, who hadn't been so relaxed for a long time, laughed at himself and said, "Woman, only the sword that will affect you." The two chatted with each other, but an old man with white hair like a waterfall came to the outside world. He entered the room next to Jian Wushuang. Just when I entered the room, I saw the guard next to him stunned. Isn't this his grandson's obedience? How could he be here? Could it be that? He couldn't believe it. However, nothing was revealed. The guards also recognized this person. Shenyuan de Pan, the grandfather of the 9th prince, the of war at the time, screamed for battle. The top figure of the Shenyuan family, known as the 5th master of Shenyuan, ranked 5th among his peers, but first in strength. There were many 5th-order emperors who fell in his hands with the strength of the 5th-tier peak. This Firefox Palace was established because of him. This 5th master has a hobby, that is double cultivation. The entire Firefox Palace, like it was built for him, will appear here almost all year round, but he usually goes to the 9th floor, where there is a complete Daojuan-level cauldron. I don't know why it will be in Tianzihao today, and it's still in him. Next door to his grandson. Naturally, these guards did not dare to ask more, and after respecting the meeting, they were silent. Chapter 53-43. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign, the other party is here, it's a second-rank elder, and the only second-rank elder in the capital. After receiving the information from the other party, King Bai still had a hint of surprise on his face. It's him. Shenyuan de Pan. It was a coincidence that he was the grandfather of the 9th prince. Shenyuan de Pan next door also asked about it, and Xia Mangguanyu was alone next door. It's not that a family does not enter a door. He had never expected that the grandson who had not accomplished enough to do more than ever had this ability. He was actually the young sect master of the Kuei organization, with a 3rd-grade token. In a simple formation, a mustard seed appeared, and inside it was the treasure Jian Wushuang needed. Even if it is a father and son, the rules cannot be broken. After Shenyuan de Pan finished all this, he could not find Xia Mangguanyu. He glanced casually at the fox girl below, revealing the color of greed. After checking the treasures in the mustard seeds, Jian's eyes were filled with joy. In the past 1,000 years, the biggest receipt has been it. In addition to these things, he also got the black armor given by the At First, which was the armor of the Candle Dragon. It is an extremely critical component of the Beast God Soldier, and it is precisely because of this Candle Dragon armor that he chose to join the Kuei organization. Then it got deeper and deeper. The defensive power of this Candle Dragon armor is comparable to the Eternal Treasure, second only to the Eye of the Candle Dragon. It's just the Eye of the Candle Dragon, with the Beast God realm, and it's the only treasure that still carries the Beast God's origin on it. Jian Wushuang turned over and took out a token from the mustard seeds. Compared with the armor of the Candle Dragon, this token is his most valuable treasure. It can't be said to be a treasure, but a secret thing is recorded in the token. It is information about Candle Dragon accessories. The Kuei organization in the realm has been collecting information about the accessories of the beasts for thousands of years, and now it has finally found it. Mo Luo Kingdom, the first Prince Rosha, the arm of the Candle Dragon, which is a suspected eternal beast weapon accessory, has entered the 4th Order Emperor. In the northern part of the heavens, there is an inheritor who confirms that he has the claws of the Candle Dragon. The strength can kill the 1st Order Emperor. The Tomb of the Gods, a special being, contains the heart of the Beast God. Absolute strength. Seeing these 3 pieces of news, Jian Wushuang leaked a look of shock. I didn't expect it to be collected. In addition to the realm, even other secret realm news has been sent. It seems to be the meaning of the god. The heaven realm person should be the Dao sovereign. This is useless information. The one in the Tomb of the Gods, with absolute strength, contains the heart of the Beast God, and can only be taken out unless the opponent is killed and slaughtered. Even if he is lucky, if he is not discovered by the other party, even if he is backed by the K organization, he can't make the other party's idea, and can only wait later. He has seen the ultimate combat power, and he has also heard King White mentioned it. The White King at the pinnacle is the ultimate combat power, Maybe after helping the White King recover the peak combat power, he can touch that special life. The only thing that can be snatched away now is the one in the hands of the Prince of the Moluo Kingdom. The Fourth Order Emperor is a bit tricky. It looks like it needs to be arranged. Isn't Dacia planning to send troops to conquer the Demon Kingdom? It's an opportunity. The White King floated out, revealing his evil face, and said coldly, "An acquaintance is here." Jian Wushuang frowned, put away the treasure naturally, and turned his head to look in the direction of the door. Although he couldn't see anyone, he still felt that the person from the outside world had a deep karma with him. Huiqing. Why is he here? Get up right now. Fortunately, feeling the breath, I went to Tianzi number 1, and didn't pay too much attention to it. Jian Wushuang breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that Huiqing had discovered his identity and followed all the way here. Although now the strength has increased a lot, Huiqing's strength is not weak. He has found that Huiqing has reached the level of consummation. The ultimate way is at least the 8th level. Now that he is still tempering outside, it seems that he intends to break through after he is ready to complete the ultimate path. This group of inheritors went to the Tomb Mountain for 100 years, and then began to go down the mountain to experience and accept some tasks. He has also met many acquaintances over the years. I have also encountered Wanxing in the Tianbei continent, and the opponent's strength has also improved very quickly. At that time, I saw that he and Ji Chaoyang had the power to kill the emperor. And that Lungshuang Daojun now has broken through Chengdi Jun. Their batch of Dian immortals had a lot of breakthrough emperors. As long as they broke through, they were the Third Order peak emperors, and each was the seedlings of the Fifth Order emperors. There is also Zhouyan. He is also the emperor now, as the oldest Taoist. After he broke through, he directly stepped into the Fourth Order Taoist, and the moment he succeeded in joining the Tao, he took 4 steps. When I first met, I was still in the ruins of a sect, and I was a little envious of seeing the other side's charm. They all have a bright way to go. And he is like a mouse, afraid to see the sun. After taking his seat again, Jian Wushuang took out other treasures, which were all exotic flowers and fruits that increased his divine body. These treasures were enough to make his divine body more than 8,000 times. Over the years, he has raised his divine body by 2,000 times, and now it is 7,000 times. These treasures can further enhance his divine body 1,000 times. The distance to the basic divine body is 10,000 times faster. The beast god domain is up to 10,000, which is of little use to him unless the old man with horns can refine the origin of the beast god for him. He didn't trust that very much. The other party also mentioned that he could help him refine the origin of the beast god, but he rejected it. In fact, he still has a glimmer of hope in his heart. As long as he is separated from King Bai, he can still go to the Tomb Mountain, where is his home. He doesn't want to be in the Temple of Chishan all his life. After breaking through the Emperor at the Tomb Mountain, at least he is free to go to the outside world at any time. It's just that it's a little bit behind the restoration of King White's origin, and there is a divine body behind, which is even more troublesome. The treasure of the body does not need him to look for, but a body of the body still does not need to sacrifice many monks. The ultimate bloody. It is not so easy to refine. If it is other powerful people, it's okay, but it's too difficult for him to be the host of the Taoist monarch. Sitting cross-legged on the soft throne, quietly breaking through the divine body. Tianzi number 1 room. Huiqing, it's been a long time since I saw you. Prince Xia Mang said enthusiastically. He and Huiqing have known each other for hundreds of years. When he met for the first time, he had just broken through, and Huiqing came to challenge him in the realm of Taoist monarch. At that time, he thought that the other party's brain was broken and he was about to kill him. To save face, ask each other for advice. But what everyone didn't expect was that he was defeated, and it was a complete defeat. Lost to a Taoist monarch. Fortunately, not many people watched it at the beginning, and no one knew about it after a strict order. Otherwise, Huiqing's name would have already shocked the entire territory. This is the inheritor. He later learned of Huiqing's identity from the ancestors, and he deliberately made friends, not entirely because of the background, but because Huiqing's own strength was enough to make anyone value it. Chapter 53-44. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. Hua Qing did not come alone. The little girl was still by her side. Du Shenyang wandered around these places all the year round, exquisitely, and dismissed the others at the moment, walked in front of the little girl, bent down and said softly, "Little girl, what's your name?" "My name is Jiang Shong." The little girl had bright eyes and did not have stage fright at all. The Crown Prince Xia Mang, the champion, untied a piece of gemstone from his waist and handed it over. Unexpectedly, Master Hua Qing would still bring someone with him. He came in a hurry and didn't have any gifts on him. "This dragon soul jade that has been with me for a long time will be given to you." Hua Qing knew the other party's character, and didn't shy away, so Jiang Shong accepted it directly. Seeing the doting in Hui Qing's eyes, Champion Xia Mang moved slightly. Xiao Jiang Shong is just a mortal, and he does not have Hui Qing's blood. Why is he so concerned about this mortal? Is it a special hobby? Seeing Hui Qing's appearance, it's not very similar. Hua Qing also saw the other party's doubts, and first explained, "Forgot to introduce, Jiang Shong, my first disciple." Disciple? Teaching method. After hearing these words, Champion Xia Mang leaked admiring eyes. With Hui Qing's strength and potential, if he wants to recruit disciples, I am afraid that Dao Jun will rush to worship him. Unexpectedly, the first disciple actually accepted a mortal, and it seemed that the aptitude in the opponent's body was very average, and it didn't look like a monk's material. The two were seated, and Du Shenyang took Jiang Shong to the floor-to-ceiling windows to watch the graceful dance of the Fox family below. Tianzi No. 7 room. Jian Wushuang was very curious about why Hua Qing came here, but he is still not able to show up right now. If he shows his identity, he will probably go to the Tomb Mountain. At that time, it was discovered that there was still a person in him, and it was the White King. It would be difficult to explain by then. The oath was also issued, and now there is only one way to go. If you are curious, we can eavesdrop on it, so as not to come here for you and me, the White King said lightly, his figure floating out, but his eyes were looking at the fox girl below. Jian Wushuang snorted coldly, and said with disdain, "Are you still afraid of a Taoist monarch? This is the realm, blood sacrifices are very common, so what if you are recognized?" After a quarter of an hour, the two of them stared at a miniature formation in front of them, eavesdropping on the conversation in room number 1 Tianzi. "Master Hua Qing, this time my father insists on fighting the Mo Luo kingdom. I feel tired. Now Da Xia is not only facing the Mo Luo, but also some super tribes in the territory are ready to move. The Crown Prince Xia Mang, the champion, already has the posture of a superior person. He doesn't see right or wrong in everything, only the advantages and disadvantages. In his opinion, going to the Demon Kingdom is a way of hurting the enemy by 1,800. It is not as good as suppressing the rebellious tribes in Daxia, at least it can be crushed. As the First Order monkhead, Hua Qing, according to his idea, is best to save the kingdom of Moluo first. Of course, when he came to the realm this time, he also came with a task, and that was to remove the 10 heads of the Emperor of Demon Dao. Regardless of weakness, as long as it is an emperor. He came to Daxia this time because he was close to Mo Luo and heard that there was a big battle. Moreover, the national teacher of the Great Xia Kingdom is not someone else, but the immeasurable Buddha. Both of them are inheritors. After the immeasurable Buddha came down the mountain, he has been in Daxia. He is the emperor, and the task he accepts before going down the mountain is naturally much more difficult than that of the Taoist. It may take millions of years of planning to succeed. Good. Champion Xia Mang saw Hui Qing's face and understood the other party's intention in his heart. Does the national teacher mean? Hui Qing nodded. The matter of the sword pointing to the devil has already begun in the Great Xia Ancestral Temple. It is not easy to persuade your majesty, you can only fight. Hearing the word Zhongmiao, Champion Xia Mang flashed a light in his eyes. I also understood a lot at a time. No wonder the ancestors said at that time, a hero for a time, a hero forever. It is estimated that he is his father. This battle for Moluo not only calms the border disturbances, but also stabilizes Xiao Xiao in Daxia. It will get the support of the sects from all over the world. This battle is profitable and harmless. As for the fallen strong, they are not considered strong. Or take the opportunity to weaken the strength of some sects. His father was appointed by his ancestors. Now Dacia needs to expand its strength. As for the internal stability, he needs a benevolent person. Now, he understands the intention of the ancestor. Whether he is a benevolent person or not, he must pretend to be a benevolent person. Otherwise, the position above is not his. Recalling who among the 9 brothers was the most kind, the champion Xia Mang showed his coolness. Second, 8 princes and 1 prince. Several of them have died, and the trials within the royal family are no less than some ancient sects. Besides, the people recruited by the ancient sect were all talented people, but the imperial family was indifferent. The few princes who can resist to the present, or become the emperor to divide the frontier important land. Either you can eat and wait for death like the 9th prince Xia Mangguanyu, that is, with a strong background, in order to be so leisurely. Now there are 2 princes in the imperial capital, whose powers are not ordinary, has full wings. Among them, the 2nd prince is a special case. The achievement of the emperor was 1,000,000 years earlier than him, and now he is the 3rd-tier peak, and may break through the 4th-order emperor at any time. Because of the benevolence on the surface, many people have been attracted, and the strong under them are like clouds, and there are many 4th-order emperors. The 2nd child has always been a thorn in his eyes and a nail in his flesh. Now that he understands the intentions of his ancestors, he feels a little uneasy. Although the position of the prince was determined early, it was impossible to say what to do if he was abandoned halfway, or if he fell. Master Hua Qing, please also give me some pointers. Champion Xia Mang respectfully held his fist to meet. Hua Qing is a bit embarrassed. He doesn't want to get involved in this kind of worldly dispute, but the other party's attitude is not easy for him to refuse, so he can only open up some things he knows. First of all, he was required to stop the foreign war. Dacia's intentions were not as one-sided as Xia Mang champion guessed, and there were still some problems. Dacia Zhen might not win the battle against Momo Luo. If there was only one voice inside Dacia at the beginning, he would underestimate the enemy, and be criticized if he loses, and there would be no one behind him. This requires a voice of opposition. As long as the prince opposes this time, he will be the winner if he loses, and he won't lose money if he wins. Therefore, he has to oppose it. After listening to Hui Qing's explanation, Champion Xia Mang understood instantly and bowed down again. Boom. In the courtyard, I don't know when a ring appeared, and the battle of life and death is being staged above it at this time. Disturbed by this thunder, Champion Xia Mang was very annoyed. Fork the 2 people from Chai Taishan and chop them out for me. Du Shenyang quickly stepped forward to comfort. Hua Qing shook her head, reminding the prince to keep a low profile at this time. Chapter 53-45. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign, Zhen Wushuang in the next room understood what they were talking about there. He also knew a lot about Daxia's battle against the Moluo kingdom, not only because of the memories of the 9 princes, but also because of the secret promotion of the Kuei organization. The Moluo nation is now full of members of the Quebec organization, and they also need to expand, but if they rush to attack the surrounding forces, it will be disadvantageous. When the strength is too strong, they will be attacked by groups. It's better to go fishing and let Dacia come and beat him. When the time comes, I will bring Daxia's elite in a pot, and then backhand invade Dacia, wouldn't it be better? This is the top secret, and only the first-rank elder will know that Zhen Wushuang's identity is special. When he was in the Moluo country, the first-rank elder who was sitting there told him about this. This time he sneaked into Dacia. He also came with a mission, which was to fool more masters to the Moluo kingdom. These idiots. King White sneered. On the other hand, Zhen Wushuang put away the formation. This formation could only be eavesdropped by using King Bai's spatial origin. With his current strength, he could not eavesdrop on the emperor's conversation. Okay, get ready to catch turtles in the urn. By then, all the strong men who have fallen will be yours. King White sneered, it's yours too. The 2 opened the door and left in a hurry. When I walked to the outside world, I glanced at the Crown Prince Xia Mang champion from a distance. On the luxurious Fei Hu, There were 18 emperor guards neatly around, all the way to the palace swagger. Xia Mangguanyu also had many followers. Although it is not as good as the prince and the second prince, it is not much different. There are dozens of emperors alone. The weak second-order emperor is only enough to be a guard. The real third-order peak emperors are all served as guests. Some of them took refuge under him after offending people, and some were dead soldiers sent by his grandfather. The 18 guards outside were the dead men sent by his grandfather, each of the second-tier peak combat power, and the guard leader was the third-order peak emperor. Once in danger, you can instantly form a battle formation to fight against Tier 4 emperors. There are countless strong people in the world, but the fourth-order emperor is still very rare. Not to mention that he is Daxia's prince. Even if he is Daxia's prince, there is no fourth-order emperor under his family. The fourth-order emperor is a guest no matter where he goes. As for the fifth-order emperor, he would not pay attention to these little guys. The fifth-order emperors generally follow some sixth-order emperors, seeking refuge and letting the sixth-order emperors give pointers. They are all here to improve their strength. Treasures are not too useful for them, unless it is some precious eternal treasure to make them tempted. After returning to the palace, Jian Wushuang began to figure out what he was doing now. It is estimated that in a few years, the army will be officially mobilized to the Moluo kingdom. Although he is the prince, he does not have any military power, so he can only take people with him. In Daxia, anyone who is a child of the royal family has the right to recruit private soldiers. In addition to some of Xia Mangguanyu's followers, there is also a private army. The 4 secret realms, except for the heavens and the tombs of gods, all have many ancient kingdoms. In the heavens or in the outside world, it is rare to encounter a realm of cultivation. But as long as there is a kingdom, there will be an army of cultivation. The army under Jian Han's was very small, and he couldn't support it with more. Just a set of innate treasures, ordinary ones need thousands of sacred stones. A team of thousands is a cost of millions. Even if he is a prince, he doesn't have that much money in his hands. He was trained by his mother, and he himself doesn't have that much money to train him. These 1,000 people are not enough. Jian Wushuang's eyes rolled. In the Battle of Mo Luo, what he wanted was the accessories of the Candle Dragon. That fourth-order emperor, he also asked King Bai to inquire about it. If it is an internal member, I am afraid that the would have taken it away and threatened him with a beast and soldier. But since it is not moving, it shows that the status of the fourth-order emperor is not ordinary, such a young fourth-order emperor. Mo Luo Kingdom, the prince. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself, his status is not too high. They are not princes. Besides, the emperor of the Moluo Kingdom is no more than the fifth-order peak emperor. With King White's supergrade token, it is entirely possible to dispatch a first-grade elder to assassinate. Anyway, a fourth-tier emperor cannot influence the overall situation of the Moluo Kingdom. But King White, who had just sent a call, was rejected by the gods. It seems that there are other purposes in this. The gods must have plans in the Moluo nation, otherwise they would not be so important. After Jian Wushuang was ready, he didn't force it, but set out to prepare. Since he couldn't rely on others, he would do it alone. Entering Tier 4, it was a little bit pressured, but it wasn't to the point where it was completely irresistible. This time, when he came to Daxia State Capital, he was ready to break through rank 9. Now his ultimate path has reached the 6th level peak, and the ultimate path has reached the 7th level peak. It's almost a little bit. Kendo may not be able to completely break through for a while, but Jidao has reached its limit, and it needs some assistance. www.mtlnovel.com to hope for a breakthrough. Once the extreme path breaks through, he will be able to completely grasp the power of all things, and the origin of space. He is also constantly breaking through, and now his realm in space has surpassed those native monarchs and can be comparable to those fourth-order existences. It's just that in terms of hard power, it's a little worse. If you master the power of all things and you can completely make up for this shortcoming, then the fourth-order emperor will not be unable to fight. He now has the record of beheading the third-order emperor. Since the space is small, his thoughts on the universe can merge with the swallowing power and appear as a swallowing universe. The third-order emperor entered, and was swallowed into nothingness. If the extreme path breaks through again, the combination of the power of thought, the power of swallowing, and the power of all things, his strength will also undergo a qualitative change. 9 turns are complete. Old White Ghost, are you sure which treasure will be auctioned in the capital? Sure, I have my own person in that auction house. Jian Wushuang nodded, not talking. The identity of the 9th prince should not be wasted. The prince's background is very complicated and the relationship is hard enough. He has to make good use of it. Come on, go to the Colosseum. It took less than a day to come back. After searching all the treasures inside and outside the palace, and taking it with him, there was no need to stay here. What he has to do now is to make a blockbuster and let the outsiders understand that he Xia Mangguanyu has a great opportunity. Tianmo Gong. It's really interesting. Searching for Xia Mangguanyu's memory, the place where he went to the trial last time, the ancient unique knowledge he obtained was heavenly demon art. Speaking of it, he had some fate with the demon sect at the beginning. It was only because of the Daoist Liuyang that the heavenly demon gate had been flattened by the Wuzhua leader, and the corpse of the 6th Order Emperor was hung on the gate of the Yuan Palace by Wuzhua. Chapter 53-46. WN Dao Sword Sovereign. Speaking of it, the current Celestial Shadow sect in the north is like a mouse crossing the street, and he doesn't dare to show his head at all. Wu's strength is very strong and cruel. The temple has to manage the 4 secret realms, while the Senate Palace has so many people in charge of only one northern realm, and soon the entire northern realm will be built into one. All the sects provide offerings every year, who stop who will die. As long as each practitioner reaches the level of the Dayan Immortal, he must register at the entrance of the Yuan Laro Palace, and those without a clear identity shall be killed. In addition, the outer palace was opened, and the emperors were forced to join. If they didn't go to the outer palace, they would have to die. And Wu Zhuo will go and kill those emperors himself. In just 1,000 years, there were thousands of emperors in the northern realm of the heavens who fled. Most of them escaped from casual cultivators. The strength of the Senate Palace was too strong to resist any resistance, so they could only escape. Bai Yi's eyes were enthusiastic, and now he was ready to abdicate automatically and let the Senate Palace manage the heavens. Because of this incident, the realm has become extremely lively. Many emperors who committed crimes in the realm have fled to the realm. They don't want to be chased and killed by the Palace of the Elders when they control the realm. These escaping emperors from the heavens wanted to kill and loot each in the heavens, and then they came to the earth. This time the auction house has collected many good treasures and prepared for auction. It's just that these treasures are too expensive. Jian Wushuang really can't afford it. In recent years, although he has not done less to kill and sell goods, he has done very little, and now he has no more than 1 million sacred stones. In the mansion of the 9th prince, millions more were collected, and there were some treasures that needed to be sold. Money. It's not easy to earn. It was the same nourishment that I had spent in Qiu Huangcheng, earning tens of millions of treasures, which is comparable to tens of millions of sacred stones. In the past few years, he helped King Bai to restore his roots and earned a lot of treasures. These will also be considered credit, but the last time he bought information was all spent. It's gone now. Thinking about this, news came from the outside world. Your Highness, the Colosseum is here. Jian Wushuang slowly opened the door curtain on Feihu. Looking up, a huge Colosseum came into view. The Colosseum. It is a dual field opened by the royal family. As the name suggests, fighting in the imperial city is forbidden. If you want to fight life and death, you can come here. Before reaching the door, a brawny walked out of it. His Royal Highness 9. The visitor was rugged but careful, and quickly saluted respectfully. Jian Wushuang pressed his hand, his eyes were cold and arrogant, and he walked straight to the Colosseum, and the brawny man naturally followed carefully behind him. I heard that there is a good show to watch today? Jian Wushuang said lightly. The rugged and brawny man quickly replied, it's not a good show, but there is a life and death battle between 2 third-tier emperors. Laro Sanpei, your tone is very big. Jian Wushuang turned his head and stared at the rugged man in front of him with a cold gaze, and said in a low voice, when did the third-order emperor from your mouth become ordinary? Hearing this, Pei San knew that it was the ninth prince who was suppressing him, and he hurriedly bowed and said, "I dare not dare to be a humble post. The younger one will never forget the great grace of His Highness 9. If it hadn't been taken by His Highness, I would have died in the chaos among back then. It really was Xia Mangguanyu who followed his grandfather Shenyuan Depan to the chaos and saved his life, and then was taken to the capital of Daxia, where he sought an identity in the Colosseum for him. Pei San, the peak of the Third Order Emperor. Staying by his side is rather overkill, so he was sent here, but this one is indispensable for foreign campaigns." After the beating, Jian Wushuang didn't speak, but waved his hand. He came to the Colosseum not only for Pei San, but also to make money. "How about these two players' handicap?" Jian Wushuang asked casually. Pei San became more respectful this time, and replied, "There are almost 40 million sacred stones. But Pei San is a little different." He knew that Jian Wushuang came here for other purposes. He was also afraid of this, so that he would be born and die for the ninth prince, and his brows would not even be frowned. But if the rules of the Colosseum are broken, life is worse than death, and even the prince cannot change it. "Don't worry, I understand the rules." Jian Wushuang gave the other side a reassurance. "But there is a fifth order emperor sitting here, giving him 10 courage, and he dare not break the rules. The two third-order emperors have a great reputation in the imperial capital. One is the Sword Immortal, the third-tier pinnacle of strength, known as one of the 79 swords in the capital, ranking 79. Sword Qi is near. It's the same surname as Jian Wushuang. It was him." Jian Wushuang rolled his eyes and entered the Colosseum. Only when he entered, a strand of hair fell from his head and drifted freely. "Old ghost bye. I can't kill the third-order emperor instantly, so I will hand it over later. I am responsible for the source of the loss." Jian Wushuang secretly transmitted the sound. He is just a clone of the ninth prince. The deity has always been a hair, and now it falls and drifts, following the ninth prince. Thanks, don't worry. Today's White King's origin is almost restored. It is still possible to kill a third-order emperor, but the current origin is too unstable. It is okay to kill some third-order emperors. Too many origins are broken, but if you kill the fourth-order emperor, I am afraid that you will lose a lot of origins, and King Bai is not willing. It is already the limit of King Bai to let him kill a third-order emperor. The ninth prince, Xia Mangguanyu, followed Pei San to the door of the VIP room. When he entered, he suddenly said, "That 79 sword, I am quite interested. You take me to see, maybe he will do it today." Fallen. Although Pei San was a little embarrassed, he still took them to the dark room. "Go in and let me know, even if I want to see him. Get ready for what happened when I went on the court," Pei San said harshly. A black-clothed emperor in the dark room frowned, but when he saw the ninth prince Xia Mangguanyu, he bit his head and went deep. It's about to go to the stage of life and death. These crazy people sometimes don't call anyone how high their status is. However, the sword spirit was close, and he followed the black-clothed emperor out of the secret room and came to Pei San. Jian Wushuang's transformed hair also took the opportunity to follow in. Several people said a few words at random, but Xia Mangguanyu gave a verbal encouragement and left. After everyone left, Jianqi's brows frowned. He always felt that these people were too inexplicable, but he was about to play, and he didn't bother to care about them, and returned to the secret room to calm his mind. Just waiting for the moment the door just closed, Jian Wushuang shot instantly. The entire space is only a few battles long and wide, and all thought power and swallowing power are wrapped, and the sword energy is immediately compressed and limp to the ground. Waiting for him to resist, the phantom of King White floats out and slaps the opponent's head with a palm. At the same time, inside the VIP room of the Colosseum. Chapter 53-47. WN Dao Sword Sovereign, Jian Wushuang was talking with some princes and nobles, but after his deity succeeded, his brows were raised. "By the way, don't you plan to play?" Xia Mangguanyu pointed to the words on the huge plaque outside. The top shows the duel in the Colosseum today. Sword Qi close versus Huangpu Xiongyi, a strong man in Kendo, a strong man in divine body flow. The life and death battle between the two attracted many people to watch. Several other aristocratic children with unusual identities waved their hands, and soon a young woman arrived in front of them. Impressing Huangpu Xiongyi, 50,000 sacred stone, said it is for fun, but these people are still very generous. If you press the Wampo bear, then I will press the sword aura. I also practice kendo. One sword can break 10,000 magic. These people talked and laughed happily, and blood was splashed on the court. Jian Wushuang watched all this and said lightly, I am close to the sword, 2 million sacred stones, plus this innate superb sword. Wow! In addition to a mustard seed with a sacred stone, there is also a cracked bone sword, all white, with a long breath. This was the who slaughtered a monarch-level desolate beast and refined it for him. It can also be regarded as his best sword right now. The key is that this precious sword is more valuable. Superb. 2 million? Are you crazy? It was his cousin, Shenyuan Jingxian, and his uncle's son. They had a good relationship, so they came out to persuade him. Jian Wushuang waved his hand and said, I'm ready to go to the battlefield. These are all things outside of my body. It's useless to keep them. I will take them out today and let everyone laugh. He cared very much about what he said, and there was a sense of vicissitudes that made everyone admire for a while. On the battlefield, Shenyuan Jingxian tilted his head and looked at Xia Mangguanyu and said in a low voice, Go to the battlefield. Are you sure? Jian Wushuang nodded. In the eyes of these people, Xia Mangguanyu was not the one to fight on the battlefield. Go to that battlefield. My father is now in the Southern Kingdom battlefield. If you go there, you can find my father, Shenyuan Jingxian said. Jian Wushuang shook his head, patted the other person on the shoulder and said, Your father will be back soon. His Royal Highness, this white bone sword can mortgage 3 million sacred stones. The visitor has been replaced by Pei San, and he has given Jian Wushuang a golden token with 5 characters on it. He took the token and played a bit, and said to the dudes whose jaws were shocked, 5 characters are not good, it's too unlucky. Add another million. As he said, he threw a mustard seed to Pei San. There is almost enough inside. Pei San took a look, and it was really about the same, at least 3 to 5,000 sacred stones were missing, but he was not good because of this, so he could only bite the bullet and exchange a token for Jian Wushuang. The 6 characters are a bit smoother. It is a total of 6 million. If he loses, he can't hear the sound, but if he wins, according to the probability of 1 losing 3, he can get 18 million sacred stones. In addition, 2 million sacred stones and a supreme treasure sacred sword were pressed. He is also eligible to go to that auction house. That auction house is a superpower. This time it is a top auction held in Daxia, and there will be a special 6th Order Emperor to sit here. It's really not something ordinary people can get in. The ticket is not the identity, but the sacred stone on the body. Every 20 million yuan cannot get in. And many of the treasures auctioned this time, many of them are treasures specially used by the heavens. Even some tier 6 bosses will come. His identity as the Prince of Daxia was not enough to go there. Even if it was the Emperor of Daxia, he would not be considered a big man. Unless Daxia's ancestors go. Every 6th Order Emperor has the supreme majesty. Only the 6th Order Emperor would be a guest there. Secret room. Jian Wushuang, who had turned into a sword-like energy, slowly walked out of it. In almost a quarter of an hour, he looked carefully at the memory of Jian Qi's proximity. Wampo Xiongyi, a strong divine body, 16,700 times the divine body. To be honest, very weak. King White was once a body stream, more than 60,000 times. This is the real powerhouse. Only more than 10,000 times, if you really start, you can solve the opponent in a quarter of an hour. But in order to prevent others from noticing the changes in Jian Qi, he was still prepared to act like a little bit, preparing to use his origin to kill the opponent. This will only be said to be the weakness of the divine body genre, which reflects the strength of the source. But seeing so many people oppressing Huangpu Xiongyi, the strength of Jian Qi is really not good. Said it is the 3rd Order peak, I am afraid that compared with the outside emperor, it is not as strong as the 2nd Order Emperor, and it is too weak. It is much weaker than the 3rd Order Emperor of the heavens. It seems that in this imperial city, there are still some imaginary powerhouses. Touching the mustard seed in his hand, Jian Wushuang was a little surprised. Except for a divine sword, there was nothing, not even a divine stone. The same goes for the other mustard seeds, except for an extra token. 12. Golden token, a striking 12 at the top. It actually weighed 12 million sacred stones. Jian Wushuang hadn't been dazzled by the Shunsha yet. He didn't see that he won in the memory of Jian Qi sneer. How so? King Bai was one, and what Jian Wushuang saw, he naturally saw it. It's not surprising. That part of his memory should have been carried out in a certain treasure. It is normal if you can't see it. King Bai reminded. Jian Wushuang was even more puzzled. A third-order emperor, worth 1 million is not bad, his 12 million, is there anything hidden in it? Check. It must be checked. It is not an ordinary person to be able to make up 12 million. It is estimated that the fourth-order emperor will help. But how can he be so confident that he can definitely win? There are 5-tier emperors in the Colosseum, who will personally test the strength of the two. Finally, the odds are given. Could it be that? Jian Wushuang thought of a little, there must be someone behind it. He can be cloned, and so can everyone else. It's just a bit difficult to hide from the fifth-order emperor. Old Ghost Bai, inform Shenyuan de Pan and let him personally check the origin of this sword qi. Regardless of whether it is found or not, this time he will earn blood. After winning, there are 36 million sacred stones just near here with Jian Qi. With the addition of Xia Manguanyu's place, it would have passed the 50 million mark. The ordinary fourth-order emperor, I am afraid that it is worth this. Of course, it is only the poorest. The gap between the fourth-order emperor and the third-order emperor is very large. Some secret realms or relics require the fourth-order emperor to enter. In those opportunities, even the worst receipts can get millions of sacred stones. Chapter 53-48. WN Dao Sword Sovereign, the third-order emperor won't do it, it's not enough to go in, some can't go in, and can only go to the general secret realm, but where there is at most millions of sacred stones at a time. But the people who got the life are some powerful people with strange treasures. Usually these third-tier emperors can receive hundreds of thousands of sacred stones at one time. The worth is between millions, and the more are millions. Jian Wushuang's strength wasn't that Jian Wushuang looked down on him. 2 million would be pretty good. 12 million came from there. It seems that this life-and-death battle is simpler than he imagined. Since the people behind him dare to bet like this, it shows that he has absolute confidence in him. Before he even played, King Bai received news from Shenyuan de Pan. The sword is near. Recently, I have hosted a lot of third-order emperors. Among them, they are uneven. I haven't found any too private talks with other emperors. Jian Wushuang raised his brows, it seemed that he was trying to confuse others. I can't manage that much when I'm on the court soon, so I can exchange for the stone when I win and run away immediately. Since they are all tier 3 emperors, and tier 4 at most, in the imperial city, the opponent dare not act rashly. Inside the Colosseum, the audience in all quarters was full of people, at least hundreds of millions of practitioners. To go in and watch, like this kind of life-and-death battle between emperors and monarchs, the ticket will cost 10 stones. Counting this down, the Colosseum made 1 billion this time. And there is a rule in the Colosseum. As long as they are willing to enter the arena, the Taoist will reward 100,000 to 1 million sacred stones, and the emperor will reward 100,000 to 100 million sacred stones. But this has to be won before it can be given. This point Jian Wushuang knew that if he won, it would be possible to charge another 10 million yuan in appearance fees with his sword-like reputation. Compared with these, the Colosseum still earns more. 1 billion at a time, in addition to the venue and some labor costs, the royal family can make at least 800 million. The fifth-order emperor who sits here is the elder of the ancestral temple, the senior in the clan, and the powerhouse of the Xia Man clan. He is stationed here for a long time, and he will also draw a part of the sacred stone he earned in each game. After all, it is a fifth-order emperor. If you go out and wander around, you will probably get more divine stones. But there is no danger here, and it is a good job. Standing at the highest point, Jian Wushuang held a sword in one hand and leaped heavily towards the ring. His appearance made countless people cheer. Some of them were calling his name, apparently weighing his wealth on his body. In this imperial city, there are still many gamblers. In the Colosseum, in addition to volunteers to participate in the war, more slaves or prisoners of war collected from the battlefield. Let them fight here. If you win 100 games, you will get only one, but if you lose, you will fall. These people's fights were more bloody, but their strength was generally weak. Most of the people who can be captured are Taoists or some Earth immortals. For a super dynasty like Dacia, the lowest threshold for conscription is generally Earth immortals. The real army of cultivators is overwhelming, not necessarily all emperors and lords, and more of them are heaven and earth. These monks were all cannon fodder, either fell on the battlefield or were caught in large numbers. After all, it is the top-level combat power that determines the victory, and the top level collapses, and no matter how good it is, it will lose. In this case, why spend so many sacred stones to cultivate an army of cultivators? Just let the two ancestors fight a fight. King White said lightly, it's not that simple. The bottom layer is fighting for air luck. If the bottom layer loses, then the upper level is likely to lose under the same combat power. The origin of the Emperor's space is to store air luck. Most powerful people must follow this rule. Of course, you don't need to follow this ultimate way, and you still have that special way. I think the above is not only unlucky, but has evil aura, the opposite power of air luck. Hearing these words, Jian Wushuang leaked murderous intentions in his heart. This King White is most familiar with him. His origin is now only known to King White, not even the god. At the beginning, he made an oath, although there was also an oath not to disclose their respective information, but he was still worried, in case this old guy was about to die that day, shaking his affairs out. It was not good, only the dead can control his mouth. I'm afraid King White thinks so too. Although the two are one body, each is pregnant. After he played, Huang Pu Xiong held a blue stone long stick in one hand, and jumped down from above, looking at Jian Wushuang with a sullen expression on his face. A majestic voice sounded from above, start. The speaker was the Fifth Order Emperor. According to seniority, Xia Mangguanyu had to call the other uncle, and even the current emperor would call the other uncle. Accompanied by a more enthusiastic shout, the Wampo bear took action first. Sure enough, just as Jian Wushuang had imagined, as soon as the opponent moved his hands, he saw the strangeness. The two fight, the thunder is loud, the rain is small. It's completely for outsiders. It's just this point, Jian Wushuang thought it was too funny, but there was a Fifth Order Emperor watching him. Although the Emperor won't pay attention to these anyway, the tickets are earned, but if the two don't fight, it will affect the reputation of the Colosseum, and neither of them will escape death. Boom. Fine through Chang Hong. This is the signature uniqueness of Jian Qi. The breath is like a rainbow, and the power is unlimited. I don't know what Huang Pu Xiong thinks. He wouldn't think that the fake fight would end there. This sword is a sneak attack. As soon as Huang Pu Xiong didn't react, he stabbed another sword with his backhand, pointing straight at the center of the opponent's eyebrows. This sword contained the ultimate meaning, surpassing Huang Pu Xiong's expectation, and directly injured him seriously. As soon as Huang Pu Xiong stepped back, he touched his eyebrows with one hand, angrily surged in his heart, but he didn't dare to speak. This is different from what he discussed with Jian Qi. But now that people have changed, who will care about these? Recalling that 10 years ago, Huang Pu Xiong began planning this matter as soon as he approached Jian Qi. Jian Qi has a wife who is born with a natural ice body physique. He needs to drink fire fruit wine for many years. Fortunately, fire fruit wine is not precious. As a Third Order Emperor, he doesn't care about it at all. However, 1,000 years ago, the wife who was close to the sword suddenly changed her physique, changing from the ice body to the Wuji divine body, one of the 10 ancient divine body. Regardless of whether it is ice soul or Hua soul, once it becomes the promised divine body, it will accelerate toward extreme changes. It used to be ice soul, but now it is cold shadow. Thousands of years have strengthened its physique 10,000 times. His wife was an ordinary Taoist monarch, but now she can rival the emperor. It is said that this physique will attract the attention of some large sects, and maybe his wife will be recruited, but who would think that the cold power in his wife's body has condensed into crystals, which has destroyed her physique. If it is allowed to develop, it will eventually become an icy body. If you really want to take refuge in the big sect, you are also serving as a wedding dress for others. Chapter 53-49. Wn Dao Sword Sovereign, a complete special divine body. This is a great tonic. It can even be grafted onto other practitioners. So Jian Qi was nearly afraid to be exposed. This exists in Jian Qijin's memory, so Jian Wushuang also knows it. Originally thought that Jian Qi was cheating and swindling money, so he could find some fire treasures for treatment for his wife. Looking at Huangpu Shengyi's expression now, he might be wrong. It's too difficult to make a game in the Colosseum. If he guessed right, it should be that Jian Qi nearly agreed to Huangpu Shengyi that he would take the initiative to lose to the other party, but Huangpu Shengyi would distribute the winnings to his wife, which would also extend his wife's lifespan. At that time, these scenes were probably so tearful. Then Huangpu Shengyi really believed it. It now appears to be fooled. In fact, their guesses are not accurate. Jian Qijin made two-handed preparations. If he wins desperately, it would be great. If he loses, his wife can extend his life, so he will go down to lead his wife. Despicable. Wampo Xiong shouted angrily. He had long been worried about Jian Qijin's insidious tricks, so he came personally. He was much stronger than Jian Qijin, and the odds were naturally much lower. But if you find someone who is weaker than Jian Qijin, I'm afraid Jian Qijin will go back. Now that he is injured, he is really hard to say to the crazy Jian Qi. Jian Wushuang had a flash of light in his eyes, the divine sword was erected between his brows, his eyes fixed on Huangpu Shengyi. This is the best time. Sword Qi is nearly unacceptable, and 1,000 swords come out in one go. No wonder he didn't have any pill treasures in his mustard seeds. I am afraid that countless auras have already been stored in his body, but he killed the opponent too fast at that time, and he did not notice. Now, he can help the other party realize their dreams. Not only will Jian Qi be able to win this life-and-death battle, but he will also take good care of his wife. Wan Jian. On the ring, Jian Qi approached his legs slightly, and his feet stood steadily on the spot, but behind him was a floating sword shadow. This sword represents the world's 10,000 swords, and Jian Wushuang's momentum is a bit novel. I didn't know it at first, but when he started out, I realized that this genius is really good. At least let the strength of Jian Qi reach the peak level. I underestimated it. Jian Wushuang's eyes condensed, and he burst out instantly. In this 10,000 aura, there is also the power of all things. He and the Third Order Emperor still need to rely on the power of all things to kill each other. Wn Dao Jian Qi, combined with the power of all things, exerted a terrifying combat power far beyond Jian Wushuang's expectations. Huangpu Shengyi was also frightened by this battle, and immediately resorted to his utmost knowledge. His figure turned into 1,000 battles, and he wanted to rely on the divine body to break through the 10,000 auras. But the power of all things in it, let alone a Third Order Emperor, even a Fourth Order Emperor is very jealous. Boom, boom, boom. 3 bursts, causing a sensation among hundreds of millions of people. Once the 10,000 strength Huangpu bear was pierced by Wn Jian, he fell directly to the ground. He never expected that his sword aura would be so strong in the near future. The Fifth Order Emperor who overlooked below also leaked a surprised look. He didn't expect that he would take a look at it, and this sword aura would actually be so strong. He didn't know that, in fact, his prediction was correct at the beginning. It was only when Jian Qi was ready to condense that group of qi, and the strength would be so powerful. But the bigger reason was the power of all things injected by Jian Wushuang. That was truly terrifying. As long as it was born from all things in this world, he could be able to transform. This is true even for special lives. Unless you are not born of the heavens and the earth, nor are you transformed by all things in the starry sky, you can ignore it. As soon as the Huangpu bear fell, because it was a genre of the body, it was not bad to leave a corpse. At this time, there was a rumbling in the sky, and the Fifth Order Emperor personally walked off the arena, floating above the arena, only to silence the countless audience in the arena in an instant. After scanning a circle, the Fifth Order Emperor said in a low voice, "Sword Chi is nearly winning." After speaking, he disappeared in the field, and those who were close to the sword's energy broke out a sensation in the entire field. Sword Chi is near. 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 At this moment, Jian Chijin is the protagonist here. Jian Wushuang waved the divine sword in his hand, and then slowly walked off the ring. VIP room. Also shout another person's name. Xia Mangguanyu. Cousin, you have to give Firefox Palace today, and you have to kill you. Xia Mangguanyu took the mustard seeds sent by Pei San, waved his arm, and said loudly, "Go." A group of dudes followed Jian Wushuang and left the VIP room. In addition to these people, there are still a lot of people who have squeezed their sword spirits, and many have made small fortunes, but these can't afford Firefox Palace, but other low-end brothels may be full today. Looking at the people who were going to exchange the sacred stone, Jian Qi left the Colosseum from the side door. Beside a remote street, the mustard seeds containing more than 30 million sacred stones were handed to Xia Mangguanyu. Then the two exchanged. Xia Mangguanyu became the deity, and Jian Chijin was a clone. That infinite divine body is very enthusiastic about King Bai, so he will naturally not let it go. The deity Xia Mangguanyu took a group of people to the Firefox Palace to relax, while the clone Jianqi approached to the hiding place of his wife. After all, it is the promised divine body. If this physique is discovered, I am afraid it will be swallowed alive by some old guys. Nancheng, a place where fish and dragons are mixed. There are strong people everywhere, and there are even some wanted people. Jianqi was sitting on top of ordinary Feihu, and reached a small green courtyard. There was a simple formation outside, and the scene inside could not be seen at all. A finger pointed out, the formation waved, and then a door leaked out. Jian Wushuang pushed the door and entered, and what he saw was the same as Jian Qi's memory. Green vegetation fills the entire small courtyard, full of greenery. Moreover, there is a round of sun in the small courtyard, exuding a strong high temperature, and ordinary people can't stand it at all. As soon as he entered the small courtyard, he saw the wife in his memory. What is slightly different from the memory is the breath of the wife who is close to the sword. It's cold, like an ice beauty. This kind of natural breath made the people in front of them more charming, even more attractive than those fox girls. She has a graceful figure and blue eyes, which is very beautiful. Come back. The voice was cold and there was no smoke, but there was a coquettishness in that voice. No wonder Jianqi Jinhui gambled even for her life. Once upon a time, he did the same. She couldn't help but leak a gentle smile, walked to the young woman, raised her hand to help her strand the ends of her hair, and whispered back, "Embark. Are you still leaving? Don't go." After saying this, the beautiful woman in front of her softly pressed Jian Wushuang's chest. For a while she didn't know whether she was holding her or letting go. Chapter 5350. WN Dao Sword Sovereign. In his mind, King Bai laughed as he watched, and said, "Jian Wushuang, you must not let go of these beautiful ladies. If you can't, I will come. You get out of here." Jian Wushuang scolded with a smile. But when the young woman approached, he was really shaken. Of course, it wasn't that the heart was moved, but it was shaken to kill. The arm slowly rested on her back, and a burst of coolness rose instantly, rushing straight to his source, and he was intercepted instantly before he got close to his source. Jian Wushuang's eyes also changed at this moment. The other party seemed to know his identity. Han Ying. Jian Wushuang whispered the other's name. Han Ying slowly broke free of Jian Wushuang's arm, and backed away a few steps. There was a trace of sadness in her eyes. The two looked at each other for a long time before Han Ying said coldly, "You are not him." Jian Wushuang saw that he couldn't hide. He changed his body immediately, revealing his true face, and there was no need to hide anything in front of a dying person. "When did you find it?" Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank. He thinks he has a perfect disguise. How could he be discovered by the other party? However, Chill leaked a hint of smile, tilted his head, and leaked sharp tiger teeth, and said with a smile, "The moment I heard your heartbeat." As he said, a palm hit his chest, the whole person took a few steps back, and the corners of his mouth overflowed with blood. Jian Wushuang didn't stop him, but quietly released his thought power to wrap the entire courtyard. Cough cough, don't worry, I will die soon, Han Ying said with a smile, and then said, can you still hold me like him? Is it necessary? Jian Wushuang looked at each other with cold eyes. How deep he is, how could he be fooled? What if he was attacked by the other party just in the past? She is a promised divine body, who knows if there is any success? Are the emperors so timid? I'm just a daoist. Someone who couldn't believe it looked at Jian Wushuang again, revealing a look of surprise. However, Jian Wushuang still looked like Jian Qi was close, and walked over slowly. Han Ying saw this, leaking a trace of sadness, and when he raised his hand to hold Jian Qijin, her eyes suddenly shrank, and finally failed to hold Jian Qijin, and fell heavily under Jian Wushuang's feet. In her hand, there is also a light blue dagger. Looking at the power of ice on it, it is estimated that it contains the power of the promised divine body. No matter how strong Jian Wushuang was, he wouldn't dare to pierce people like this casually. King Bai shook his head and said regretfully, what a loving couple, what a pity. Why don't you go down and accompany her? Jian Wushuang said angrily, you can be like what you are today. 8 achievements are for this reason. King Bai waved his small hand and quickly said, forget it, there are people below to accompany her, but no one accompanies me, and I can cultivate to the 6th order emperor, but there is a great opportunity, don't underestimate me. Her, is Chen Jima's chance of rotten millet, no matter how big it is? Jian Wushuang said, pointing to the sky. With a movement of mind, Han Ying's corpse was directly turned into a phantom. This is the phantom of the divine body. Unfortunately, it's not for me. King Bai looked at the shadow with a little regret. Jian Wushuang said, there is nothing wrong with it, but this divine body needs too much investment, and the meaning of promise can stay. This natural divine body can be sold for a good price. Are you going to swallow the meaning of promise in her body? King Bai looked at him in surprise. Jian Wushuang nodded, I don't like picking fruits. The meaning of promise can help me condense the divine body faster. As long as I swallow a little bit, I can evolve all things. Naturally contains the meaning of promise. The promised divine body is one of the 10 special divine bodies in ancient times. King White once followed the divine body genre, and it was also one of the top 10 divine bodies, otherwise it would not be exaggerated to more than 60,000 times. At the beginning, he didn't slaughter special beings less. The divine body was a harder road than the original. At least the origin can be cultivated slowly, but the divine body does not need to be cultivated, and needs to be accumulated by treasures all the time. After swallowing the meaning of promise, Jian Wushuang's divine body began to transform. This small courtyard is also suitable for retreat. After putting away the corpse, he took the phantom of King Bai and entered the room. The furnishings inside were very simple. There was a portrait of Jian Qi on the top. A stalwart man carried a divine sword on his back and had 2 temples. Gray. With a wave of his hand, the portrait ignites spontaneously. Jian Wushuang sat cross-legged on the soft blanket and began to fuse the divine body. The divine body already 8,000 times, I don't know if it can completely break through 10,000 this time. The fusion of the meaning of promise will enhance a lot of divine bodies. Wanbei is a threshold, and the treasures needed to break through are too expensive. At least it is a treasure with more than 10 million sacred stones. Now what he wants to break through is the origin. There are not so many divine stones to stabilize the divine body. If the origin of the candle dragon can be restored, the beast god realm may help his divine body to break through 10,000 times, and it will be even stronger under the blessing. It's a pity that it's almost useless now. After integrating the meaning of promise, the divine body 10,000 times has reached its limit, and if you want to break through, you can only use more powerful treasures. The highest blessing in the beast god realm is 10,000, and once the basic divine body reaches 10,000, it is useless. Such a good treasure can only be seen now when I get it. The wings of the beast god and the armor of the beast god are somewhat useful. The former can make him perceive the space faster, and the defense of the latter is not weaker than the eternal treasure. This clone retreats here for a few months. Outside world. After Xia Mangguanyu kept a low profile for a few months, it was obvious that changes had begun in the imperial city. As he guessed, that uncle did indeed return from the battlefield of the southern kingdom, and at the same time he brought Daxia's 100,000 elites, each of whom was a powerful daoist, and each with a murderous aura. This is the daoist who came back from the battlefield. The ordinary Taoist monarch is much stronger. On this day, Shenyuan Mansion held a banquet for Shenyuan Anhai. Emperor Daxia also asked this Anhaihu's sister, Xia Mangguanyu's mother, to come and visit in person. In addition to some senior officials on the court and the field, some fourth-order emperors and powerhouses also came one after another. Each of the four uncles of Xia Mangguanyu was the strongest among the fourth-order emperors, and his mother was also the fourth-order emperor. From the Shenyuan family, there were 5 fourth-order emperors from the generation of An, who were much better than the generation of the old man. In Shenyuan Dapan's generation, he alone became a fifth-order emperor, and a third brother became a fourth-order emperor. The rest were not very popular, and some were even emperors. Looking at it again, the ancestors are also fourth-order emperors. Wang also started from Shenyuan Dapan, allowing the family to make this great Xia wealthy. Especially Shenyuan Dapan's direct line, the 5 fourth-order emperors, each has great potential and strong combat power, plus Shenyuan Anshire who entered the palace, all occupy high positions. Chapter 53-51. WN Dao Sword Sovereign, either he is out there, or he is in a prominent position in the ruling and opposition parties. Xia Mangguanyu took her mother's arm and walked slowly into the main hall. At this time, it was already full of people. According to the family banquet, Shenyuan Anshire could not be the main seat, but today he came with the emperor's will and naturally took the main seat. "Brother, hurry up and get your seat." Concubine and Shui waved her hand to interrupt as soon as the person wanted to worship. Jian Wushuang was sitting aside, sitting with a few cousins. This kind of banquet is the most useless on the surface. But within an hour, the people from all walks of life dispersed, and the Shenyuan family also entered the secret room in the backyard. In addition to the local Shenyuan 5 tigers who are eligible to come here, there are also family patriarch Shenyuan Dapan, as well as several scary ancestors with high generations. A total of 10 fourth-order emperors, 1 fifth-order emperor, and Jian Wushuang's heir. And Shui is here this time, and the opportunity for the rise of our Shenyuan family is right in front of us, so I'll just say it. Shenyuan Dapan glanced around, his eyes low. The position of the Shenyuan family is still not very strong in his opinion. Although there is Shenyuan Anshire, the concubine in the harem, she is not a queen after all, and she is not enough in power. The sons are very good, but he is very pleased with this, each of them holds authority. However, strength is the key, what he needs is the fifth-order emperor who inherits him. Once he falls, everything in front of him is just passing by. "Father, will your old man also play in this foreign campaign?" Anhaihu asked with some worry. He had just returned and heard about the Moluo kingdom. Today's border is like a Shura field, with great battles every day. Before he returned, General Gutong, one of the 3 great generals of the empire, had already taken 1 million troops to the border of Moluo. The war has escalated to the point where it is out of control. War is bound to start, and now only the man in the palace chooses the manpower. Now it seems that their Shenyuan family has been chosen. These years are still too high profile, it is normal to be selected. Shenyuan Dapan let out a smile, and said lightly, "Choosing our Shenyuan family is within my expectation. There is no need to worry about this. By then, the 2nd and 3rd child will just follow me. The 4th child is in retreat, don't bother him if there is nothing to do. 4th brother is in retreat again, can it be said?" Anhaihu leaked a look of surprise. The ancestors who were sitting on the main seat spoke at this moment with a hoarse voice, "I can go to 2 of you this time. It has already given that person a lot of face. My Shenyuan Jiaxing is in the contemporary era, and I must never be in the contemporary era." When the ancestor spoke, even Shenyuan Dapan, the contemporary patriarch, bowed his head and listened. "On the day of the expedition, come here to worship the ancestors. Let your family talk about intimate things. We old guys will go back first. The voices of the ancestors disappeared here. After the ancestors left, only Shenyuan Depan and his third brother remained in the secret room, as well as 5 children under his knees. For a while, Shenyuan Depan leaked the coldness on his face. You all must remember that today's achievements are inseparable from the family. This time I am afraid a few ancestors. At this point, Shenyuan Depan couldn't help lowering his head, tears in his eyes. Several ancestors, when he was weak, took care of him in every possible way. The Shenyuan family at that time was just a small family. He caused trouble outside. Either the third brother helped him, or the ancestors wiped his behind. Now several ancestors are all on the battlefield for the sake of several younger generations. The emperor's battle this time was not only to attack the Moluo kingdom, but also to weaken their nobles. Yesterday, when the secret letter was sent from the palace, Xuanyuan's family had to dispatch at least 5 direct emperors. If you don't go, don't even think about returning one of the 5 people. If you go, he can keep 1 or 2. As the mountain of Xuanyuan's family, he could only bite the bullet this time. When Shenyuan Anshire heard this, there was anger in his eyes. The emperor's family is the most ruthless. This is her family. Several elder brothers and younger brothers were born and died to serve the Great Summer, and now they cut it and cut it. There is no feeling at all. Shueya, you must not be angry with that person. Our Shenyuan family is not afraid of fighting. If I didn't fight, I wouldn't have today. You can rest assured that I will bring them back safely. Shenyuan Depan is very confident. The identity of is not simple. He is still a member of the K organization. This time he attacked Mo Luo, but he received the above order, must advocate conquering Mo Luo. He is a second-rank elder and is considered to be the core, but he still doesn't know much about the K organization, and even King Bai knows very little about the secrets. I'm afraid that only the knows it. Afterwards, they began to discuss the Moluo kingdom for this battle. On the border, there are 4 huge cities, and there are countless military camps outside. Their Shenyuan family will go to the 4th city, which is the fiercest battlefield. It has just been cast there, and the death rate is very high. I heard that hundreds of emperors have fallen. Jian Wushuang almost fell asleep when he heard it. It was really meaningless and was about to destroy this hair automatically, but he didn't expect Shenyuan Depan to mention him, or even Xia Mangguanyu. Shueya, let Yua come to my room later. I have something to discuss with him. Shenyuan Anshui was a little surprised, but he didn't expect that his father would look for Xia Mangguanyu. This kid is weird. He might have joined the key organization secretly, and his status is not low. Shenyuan Depan's face was puzzled. When Shenyuan Anshui heard this, his heart sank, and he quickly said, "You are actually." At the same time, in the imperial capital, it was like a deep shadow overwhelming. A group of crows scattered in all directions and landed in various houses. Like the Shenyuan family, many people in the mansion are discussing in the secret room, but many of them mentioned that the K organization is at least half of them. If these people knew that there were half of the traitors in the imperial city today, they didn't know what they would think. Jian Wushuang was laid back. The Kuei organization couldn't handle him at all, but these were different. They were either greedy, or brainwashed, or they had a handle by the Kuei organization. This time, overhearing Xuanyuan's conversation, he was not just to know some of the secret things, but for other things. Soon, Shenyuan Depan began to talk about the auction. I am afraid that I will be after the auction when I go out to the Moluo. This time the auction is very important, and the Shenyuan family will naturally purchase it. Father, I have prepared hundreds of billions of sacred stones, which can be transferred at any time. Shenyuan Ancheng flipped over and took out a mustard seed and handed it to his father Shenyuan Depan. Hundreds of billions of sacred stones are also the limit for these big families. Excluding the usual expenses, it is good to be able to save so much. Chapter 53-52. Wan Dao Sword Sovereign. This is what Jian Wushuang most likes to hear. How much is left in the library? Shenyuan Depan asked after taking the mustard seeds. There is still about 1 billion. enough to maintain the family for several years. Shen Yuan de Pan flipped his hands and took out his mustard seeds. There are billions left here, put it into the family inventory. The operation of a large family requires tens of billions of sacred stones, and only 1 billion is too stretched. Shen Yuan Anqing, as the eldest son, has been managing the entire family. His father is a fifth-order emperor, and it is impossible to manage those trivial matters. Father, this. Shen Yuan Anqing was still a little moved after seeing his father take out his private property. It is too tired to carry the whole family by one person. He wants to share, but can only do some of his own things. Shen Yuan de Pan leaked a smile and comforted, my own treasure is enough. This time I mainly get a set of decent treasures for the second and third, and prepare some auxiliary treasures for the fourth. Indeed, his treasures are all eternal treasures, and ordinary auction houses do not have them, and the high prices are scary, and he obtained them from the Quebec organization. The conversation soon came to an end, and the hair that Jian Wushuang transformed into also followed the breath of the breeze and stuck it to the boss Shen Yuan Anqing. A fourth-order emperor, but with billions of sacred stones in his body, still made Jian Wushuang very tempted. Soon after the people dispersed, Shen Yuan and Guoguo Ran let him go to Shen Yuan de Pan's room. Boom! Jian Wushuang knocked on the door lightly, and a gentle voice came from inside, come in. Entering the room, Shen Yuan de Pan sat on the main seat of the guest hall, drinking tea by himself, and left a cup for Jian Wushuang next to him. Grandpa. Xia Mang Guanyu greeted cordially. Then he sat next to him naturally. Yua, how were you playing in Firefox Palace that day? Shen Yuan de Pan went straight to the subject as soon as he came up. Jian Wushuang could only pretend to be stupid. Well, it's not bad. I won a lot at the Colosseum that day, and they played with them for a few days, but it took my grandson a lot of magic stones. You kid. Shen Yuan de Pan leaked a smile, and even if he didn't want to say it, he also knew the rules, so he didn't ask. However, there was still a lot of reminder, and they were all accepted by Jian Wushuang. Shen Yuan de Pan looked at Jian Wushuang very pleasedly. He used to think that his grandsons were not like him, on the contrary, this grandson had the charm of his youth. Moreover, Xia Mang Guanyu was the kind that was hidden deep enough. This time he knew this grandson thoroughly. The two seemed to say nothing, but in fact they passed a lot of useful information secretly. At least now we all know that they are all members of the Quebec organization. Speaking at the end, Shen Yuan de Pan said, little guy, remember, there are people behind you. Some things shouldn't put such pressure on yourself. That's an abyss, and it's filled with unevenness. This sentence is obviously to remind Jian Wushuang that he should not fall into the trap of the Kuei organization. He is the Prince of Daxia, there is no shortage of resources, and there is no need to take too much risk. Jian Wushuang saw that the chat was over, and stood up immediately, came to Shen Yuan de Pan, bowed a big gift, respectfully said, grandson, remember grandpa's word. You child, you are all a family, get up quickly. Shen Yuan de Pan said with a gentle smile, leaking out a smile. Jian Wushuang was not able to afford it, and said in a low voice, please also ask grandpa to help his grandson. If he doesn't help, the grandson will be dead. As soon as Shen Yuan de Pan heard this, his expression changed, thinking that Jian Wushuang had some plan for him to help him, so he became solemn and said, tell me. Borrow money. Jian Wushuang knelt on the ground with his head buried between his knees. Shen Yuan de Pan laughed loudly and said, why do I still think about it, just for some sacred stones? Yes. Jian Wushuang was also honest enough to tell the truth directly. Are you really going to the battlefield? This time Shen Yuan de Pan showed a look of surprise. Grandpa, you won't be able to accumulate military exploits without going to the battlefield. My second elder brother will go there, and even His Royal Highness will go. They have gone. Of course I will not stay in the imperial city, Jian Wushuang said sincerely. When Shen Yuan de Pan heard this, he smiled and said, okay. With your words, I will definitely support you. Xia Mang Guanyu is a prince, and he will become a prince at the worst in the future, and will help them Xuanyuan's family. But now, he has joined the Quebec organization, and his status is not ordinary. Maybe he can still get that position. The future can be said to have unlimited prospects. It is nothing to invest a little money now. Let's talk. How much do you want? Shenyuan Depan's voice was very grand. A Taoist monarch, how many gods can he need? Millions of things are nothing to him as a fifth-order emperor. But when Xia Mangguanyu spoke, he was shocked. 1 billion. After Jian Wushuang finished speaking, he bowed down again. This Shenyuan Depan was a little embarrassed. 100 million was not a big deal to him, but there was a big family behind him, and he had to save everything. 100 million, many fourth-order emperors can't get it out. This kid really dare to ask. As the head of the family, he has long learned to reject or neutralize, and slightly adjusted his posture and said, You have to remember that foreign objects can't help yourself much, everything depends on yourself. Grandpa, I want to break through the treasure of the divine body. My current divine body is too weak. Before entering the emperor, I want to break through 10,000 times the divine body. Xia Mangguanyu's body, the same as his divine body, is 8,000. It's easy to reach 10,000 times the divine body, and 20 million is enough, but it's a bit difficult to break through 10,000 times. The treasure needed is a sacred stone of over 100 million. Shenyuan Depan went on to say, I think your flesh body is a lot worse. You don't need to chase the power of the divine body too much, so as not to put too much pressure on the flesh body. Grandpa, look. Xia Mangguanyu waved his hand, his body destroyed himself, and then recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. This represents the limit of the high-grade physical body. Shenyuan Depan didn't expect that this grandson would unexpectedly reach the perfect flesh body, still top grade. My heart is also moved. Maybe this grandson can really ascend to a high position in the future. However, 100 million is too hard to ask for, so I can't help but tactfully. But in the end it was given. Jian Wushuang took the mustard seeds, and his heart was agitated. When he went to Zhuanyuan's house today, he first borrowed from a few cousins, hundreds of thousands less, and more than 1 million yuan, both big and small. The uncle was the most stingy. After talking for a long time, he only gave 2 million. The other uncles gave 5 million. He knew that the big head was in Shenyuan Depan. It was mainly because he stated the purpose of this battle and some very important reasons that made Shenyuan Depan admire him, otherwise he wouldn't really give him 100 million. It's getting late, my mother is still waiting for me, so my grandson will retire first. Xia Mangguanyu slowly retreated to the door after giving another salute. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.